What's a fishbowl format? In a panel discussion, does it involve fish? No, it doesn't involve fish, but it is an awesome format. My name is Kristin Arnold, and I am a master facilitator and a leading expert on moderating panels. And the fishbowl format for one of my clients is actually their most preferred and favorite format. They've been using it for a couple of years now and refuse to let go of this format. So let's find out more. So the fishbowl format is when the panelists sit in the center of the room. They're facing each other in a circle, and the audience members are in concentric rings around the center where the panelists are. Ergo, the fishbowl, in that everybody is looking at the panelists. Just a hint is you want to make sure that the seats are staggered so that you're not looking at somebody's back of somebody's. You're looking between them to look into the fishbowl. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing how you moderate a fishbowl discussion for a panel. Let's dive in. To do a fishbowl format, otherwise known as a panel in the round, there are a few things that you might want to pay attention to from the get-go. The first is the venue. Is the venue capable of having a panel in the round? Some have done it before, some haven't. So just make sure that they understand the logistics, the requirements. Second is your AV team. Your AV team may or may not have done a panel in the round, a fishbowl format. So you just want to make sure that they're comfortable with this kind of seating arrangement. So the stage is always in the center. Now, it could be just on the ground. It could be elevated, and it could be circular. It could be rectangular. I've actually seen it triangular. That was kind of interesting. But you want to see what the staging abilities are. Especially if you're going to have a larger group, you want to elevate the panelists to some degree. I'd actually worked with a client that it was a very high-end meeting, and they had the panelists were on like a turntable that was slowly rotating about every 15 minutes. It did a complete turn. It's pretty awesome, but that was pretty high-end. You also want to check for any scenery or clutter or things. Get it off the stage. Make sure that everybody's got a good view of the center. So staggered seating is good so that you're not looking right behind somebody's face, that there aren't any plants in the way, that kind of stuff. As with all meetings, you want to make sure that that center stage is well lit. Now, because it's in the center, the lights might not actually work well. So you just want to make sure that you've got good lighting so that people can see the panelists. The audience should be placed as close to the stage as possible. You want to make it like this intimate setting so that it's like up close and personal. It's a fishbowl. We're looking in. So make sure that it's not too far away, but close enough that there's this conversation. So that's all about staging. I'm just wondering, have you ever seen a panel in the round or a fishbowl format? And what did you see in that staging? I'd love to hear. Put it in the notes below. And, while you're there, why don't you just hit that like button and subscribe button? I'd appreciate it. So now that we've talked about staging, let's talk about your panelists, because my bet is that most of your panelists have never done this before. And so they may or may not be comfortable with the fact that they are sitting in a circle, but actually, I like it because it inspires more conversation. They're not feeling like they have to play that ping pong match with the moderator, in that the moderator asks a question and somebody answers it, and then the moderator asks another question. It feels more like a dinner table conversation. So it actually helps your panelists inspire conversation, but you do need to remind them that that's what you're looking for, and it's a little different for them. And the last thing when it comes to panelists is I like actually having an empty seat. So this is a little bit of a riff, a little bit of a change from just the fishbowl format, but that one of the seats is actually an empty seat. That means that anybody from the audience can come up and sit in that empty seat. Pretty interesting, huh? And the way that empty seat gets filled is it's the first person who comes, and you explain these directions to the audience. And then any audience member can go up to any of the panelists or just to that empty seat. You have to decide. And the way that they say, I want to say something, is they put their hand on the person's shoulder. That person finishes what they're going to say, and then they get up and leave, and that other person sits down in that seat. That's called the empty seat format. You can actually start your entire panel with all empty seats. Personally, I like to seat it a little bit just to make sure that I have a couple of people there, or at least a couple of people are going to go into the seats when I invite them. But I love this format. One of my clients' favorites, it's the Fishbowl Format. If you want to find out more about different formats and how to moderate a panel, I invite you to see my 7-part free video series at www.howtomoderateapanel.com. Hey, thanks for watching.